Okay, the symposium has begun and we have attendees joining us right now.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. So welcome, everyone, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's online symposium. This is the culminating event for the inaugural cohort of the ASEE and Engineering for One Planet mini grant program, or EOP-MGP for short. My name is Dr. Jacqueline ASEE, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer and Acting Executive Director at ASEE. So I would like to kick off this symposium by providing some key information about the EOP-MGP. Global environmental challenges are among the most pressing social and economic issues that we face today. With funding from the Lemelson Foundation and under the umbrella of the signature Engineering for One Planet framework to equip engineers with skills, knowledge, and understanding to protect the planet and the life it sustains. The ASEE EOP-MGP provides engineering faculty with the opportunity to design and pilot curricula that focus on instilling concepts of sustainability. This is done through a comprehensive program comprised of mini grant funding, mentoring, and a community of practice. For more information on program components, please visit our website at eop-mgp.asee.org. The inaugural EOP-MGP cohort launched in the spring of 2022. From more than 100 applicants, 13 teams were selected and received $8,000 mini grants award to pilot their projects. We will be hearing from these 13 teams this afternoon. Let's now talk about today's agenda. So during today's symposium, we will first learn more from the EOP initiative from Cindy Cooper, Senior Program Director at the Lemelson Foundation. Next, we will hear program reflection from our advisory board. And then the part that you've all been waiting for, each cohort one faculty team will share posters that showcase the curricular changes projects they have piloted at their institutions. Each team will have 3 minutes to present, followed by 1 minute of feedback from mentors and attendees. A few logistical reminders before we continue. Please note, please ask questions by raising your hand or entering them in the chat box. This event will be recorded and posted on the EOP website in the next week. Live closed captioning is available through Zoom. Next, we're going to have a wonderful presentation from Lemelson Foundation. And I would like to introduce, and I have the pleasure of working closely with Cindy Cooper during the inaugural cohort of this program. Cindy joined Lemelson Foundation in 2017 and currently leads their EOP and higher education initiatives. A Brazilian American, Cooper received a 40 under 40 award, and her work has been featured in Fast Company magazine, Stanford Social Innovation Review, and NPR. That's amazing. With that, please welcome Cindy Cooper. Cindy?
Thank you so much, Dr. ASEE. This is such an exciting point in this program. It's been such a pleasure to work with you all and the cohort of our first grantees for the EOP-MGP. I want to say hello to everyone. I'm so excited so many of you could join us. And in full disclosure, I'm traveling. I'm in a hotel room. My video's been a little iffy. All right, so we are here for this fantastic culminating day. And my role here is to share a little bit about not so much the program, but generally the Engineering for One Planet initiative. And this mini grant program is one of the components of the EOP initiative. And what I'm hoping is that we get to hear a little bit of inspiring information and a little bit of actual content and information that might be useful and interesting for folks, especially those who haven't heard about EOP before. And then the third I is ways that you can get involved. I'm actually going to turn off my video just in case that helps thwart any internet issues. And we'll give this a shot. So first, congratulations to the cohort. This is a big day. It's like a graduation. It's a little bit different because it's not just getting the congratulatory message, but actually having to make a presentation. So maybe it's a little bit stressful, but I hope that everyone who has been part of this program is excited and really takes this moment to celebrate everything that you've accomplished. I hope it's been a really rewarding experience. I know I've been super impressed with the progress that everyone's made, and I'm really grateful to this group and each of you for what you've done to get here today and the lessons you've learned and that you're willing to share, and even tools that you've developed and that you're willing to share. So I think that you all exemplify why we say that Engineering for One Planet is not just about changing engineering courses, it's about changing the course of engineering. And that's really what you're doing through doing the work and then sharing out everything that you've learned. And a huge thanks to the many people who have made this successful. This doesn't encapsulate everyone. These are some of the core folks that have helped make this program a success. Of course, the ASEE team to start with, amazing group. It's been such a pleasure to work with this team. The advisory team for Cohort I, they went above and beyond. As noted, there were over 100 applicants for 13 spots, and the advisory team had to really step it up in terms of reviewing all of those applicants and selecting the awardees. And they're just amazing, generous people. So thank you to them. And then the mentors, and these are folks who have supported the teams by providing tactical and strategic advice along the way, from everything from teaching certain sustainability topics to integrating principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion and justice, to thinking about how to leverage these opportunities for greater transformation on campus and more. So thank you all for the amazing contributions. And I want to say to the graduating cohort, please do keep in touch. I hope that we get to see each other many times in the future. Some of the ways that all of us want to help you all on your path and keep learning from you, and ways that we can help do that and build kind of the field is through a variety of different communications opportunities. These are some of them. Keep in touch. Let me know what's going on, and I'll do the same. If there are opportunities to share things through publications and presentations, I'll reach out to you. There's going to be an ASEE Prism article, I believe, coming out in the spring about this program. So there are all kinds of ways that we can keep telling this story. And then I also wanted to have you all be thinking about, and I know many of you already are, you're not only just looking back on the progress that you've already achieved, you're looking ahead at what you want to do next. And so, I wonder what is this work going to look like? What is sustainability education in your programs going to look like, in your department, in your school, in your institution next year, or in 5 years, or in 10 years? I just can imagine how exciting that will be. And I really believe that you all have planted the seeds that are going to bear fruits in those years to come. And you'll probably even amaze yourselves with what is going to take place as the work that you've done now and the work you continue to do bears fruit. And I want you all to know that we at the Lemelson Foundation, for your group of graduating cohort members, that, those of you who are committed to expanding EOP further on your campus, please be looking for an email from us soon about an opportunity for funding. And I can't wait to see what you all do next. So shifting gears a little bit, for those of you joining us who aren't as familiar with EOP, this is our collective goal: transform engineering education so all engineers are equipped with the skills, knowledge, and understanding to protect and improve our planet and our lives. And this is something that reflects, it's not the, just a statement out of nowhere. This is something that has been crafted with input from hundreds of stakeholders that we have worked with over the years. This is a huge community of folks who have helped to shape this intention. And also for those of you who don't know about EOP, you may not know anything about me. So yes, I work at the Lemelson Foundation and my name is Cindy Cooper. I've been at Lemelson for over 5 years. This is a little snapshot of some of the things that I cherish in my life. I'm truly in love with our planet and the beautiful places and animals and experiences that it so generously gives us. I grew up in both Brazil and the US, and I cherish the gifts of human diversity. I love working on engineering for one planet, but my not so secret is that I'm not an engineer. And I don't think I even knew about engineering until I was in college. And at that point, I learned about it because Harvey Mudd College was next to my school and they had the best foosball tables. So I learned that engineers not only have the best toys, but that they're out there making the world go round. So I guess you could say I'm kind of an engineering groupie. But what I do have is experience and expertise in catalyzing curricular change, transformational change in higher education. And I've worked on that both on the faculty side as well as now through the work that the Lemelson Foundation supports. So before we ever even started Engineering for One Planet, I had to familiarize myself with what's going on in engineering and engineering education, and spoke with really hundreds of folks, and we did surveys and research, a variety of different approaches to getting more insights into what was already taking place, what had been tried, what had worked, what hadn't, what was needed. And we also talked to others, not just from academia, but industry, from other nonprofit sectors, government. And we learned that there were so many passionate faculty members who'd been trying to bring more sustainability to engineering education for many years, and they were frustrated by barriers that they were facing. So we were really in a unique position to try to remove some of those barriers, and that's what we've been working to do over the last several years in concert with this EOP community that has grown over that time. No one can do everything that's necessary to achieve that goal I shared in the previous slide alone. No organization, not even a massive, national federal funder can do this alone. We all have to work together. We all have a big role to play. So a big part of this is bringing others in to figure out how to collaborate. And speaking of bringing others in and our community, this is when we are going to hopefully share a video with you to highlight some of the voices of the community. And there are going to be some familiar faces in this video with folks that we'll be hearing from shortly. So Alex, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you to share the video.
Yes, and please confirm that you can hear the video, Cindy. No.
Sustainability is a concept for a different model of living on the planet. How do we create?
Alex, I don't know, but it stopped after I said great.
Ultimately has a ripple effect.
Here, let's try that again.
We have to change the way that we think about the world. We have to change the way that we design things in the world. Designers and engineers make the things that we use to live life. And so I think it's about embedding the idea of sustainability in engineering so that it's ultimately synonymous.
Students want to learn more about sustainability. They want to understand how we can possibly address climate change.
Engineering for One Planet has a vision that sustainability will be a core tenet of the profession. So we're working to transform engineering education to equip all students with skill sets and mindsets to ensure that engineers are able to protect and improve our planet and our lives.
I think sustainability in general is the issue of our lifetime, and STEM graduates are going to be the ones that are really going to have to do the heavy lifting.
I prepare engineers for the professional world, and it is important that they are ready for the challenges.
So that sustainability becomes a way of thinking for them. It becomes like a habit for them. in the way they approach all the innovation, development, coding.
Engineering for One Planet is transformative because it really embeds the principles of sustainability across all engineering disciplines, helps create engineers that know how to use those principles in creating the products and businesses of today and tomorrow.
EOP is bringing to the table everyone really that has a voice and an interest. So students are key, administrators, professors, but it's also very key to have industry there to showcase that there is a workforce need for this as well.
I think increasingly we're seeing industry having a demand for engineers who are specifically working in the area of sustainability. But we also recognize that we need everybody thinking about those kinds of design decisions with the sustainability mindset.
The EOP framework aligns really nicely with the concept of sustainable issues in our criteria, the items that students ought to be exposed to when they're undergraduate programs.
The EOP framework gives institutions, individual faculty members, a roadmap to start with to see pervasive transformation of the engineering curriculum.
Designing, engineering something is an innately hopeful and optimistic endeavor.
There is true power in enough people actually coming to the table with these are the tangible ways that we can change it and make this better. Engineering for One Planet isn't just about changing courses, it's about changing the course of engineering.
I believe that in the future, what we call sustainable engineering is just going to be good engineering.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you all for your patience too. Some of these technical glitches, you never know, but that went really well. So thank you all. Hopefully that's a little bit of the inspiration. And now I'm just going to share a little bit of information about EOP. So these are some paradigm shifts I want to share with you that have become clear through working with all of these stakeholders. And I wrote this sentence: humans are part of nature, not apart from nature, because it seems so obvious, but it's one of these fundamental truths that for some reason we get caught up with the things we're trying to do and we seem to forget. And this relates to this very core part of the EOP framework that you heard about in the video, and just what needs to be taught differently. And it's this idea that systems thinking needs to reach beyond factory floor into the broader ecosystems that we're a part of, to think about our impact on nature, to think about our impact on society in a broader way. So this is one of the paradigm shifts that's taking place and that we're trying to foster. As you heard me say a few times, it's not about just changing a course here or there, but this is really about redefining engineering, and that statement in the video about sustainable engineering just becoming good engineering. And then another paradigm shift that's really key is that, we're past having to try to convince people that action is needed. Science is there. There's a big shift, even in the last year, between, this idea that oh, do we really need to do something? And a lot of folks now putting resources into doing more in academia, in industry, and government. So now what we're seeing as a challenge is that there's an increasing gap between the demand for people with these kinds of skills and the supply. So we need to collaborate, and we need to accelerate changes and change the way that we're educating folks, so that we can make sure that we have everyone bringing these skills to bear. And a point on that is, you probably know this, that if you just look at folks that are graduating environmental engineering, it's a small percentage of overall engineers, and yet all engineers impact everything in our world and in our environment. Every engineer is going to have a big impact. So, we need all engineers to have some fundamental skills in sustainability areas. So engineering for One Planet, and I'm almost done, our role in curricular change, the things that the community said, were priorities as we catalyzed this work, and the kind of strategic roadmap that we're taking include these three pillars. One is, folks said, we need to know what to teach engineers, and that's what led to the EOP framework, which is aligned to the ABET requirements for student outcomes. And we've actually also developed some new teaching guides to go along with the framework. The framework talks about core and advanced learning outcomes, what students would need to learn. And these new teaching guides that are coming out very, very soon, in a couple of weeks, are then the how. Here's some actual practical how-tos for teaching the learning outcomes in the framework. And then a second part of the work, one of the pillars, is supporting curricular change. And so the ASEE mini grant program is a great example of that. And there's some other programs that are supporting curricular change. And it's not just Lemelson, there are other groups that are getting more and more involved in supporting curricular change. And then there's what institutions can do themselves, and resources that can be brought to bear by industry or academic institutions. And then finally, this idea that we need to collaborate, that we can't, no one can do this alone. No sector can do this alone. This kind of change does require us to leverage our strengths and work together to figure out, what can we do together that we can't do alone. And one of the key ways that we're doing that through EOP is through a network effort, a group of people who's working together and working on projects together that can make a difference. So, I hope that this has been interesting, inspiring, informational. And now in terms of getting involved, one of the great things that you can do is go to the website to learn more. If you have your phone out, you can scan this QR code and that should open up the website. You can download the framework there. You can just download it for free. You don't even have to put in your name. And then the teaching guides are going to be coming out. We just actually revamped our website and are about to officially launch it. So you're getting kind of a preview. And other ways you can get involved is, hey, if you're using these tools, let us know about it. Let's get the word out. Let's share it. If you want to share EOP with other faculty, you can do that. Help each other in these changes. This is hard work. As grants become available, apply for grants. The ASEE mini grant program right now has a call for applicants. So, hey, get your applications in, attend events, etc. There are lots of ways to get involved. And on our new website, we will also have a section called the Get Involved section, where you'll be able to sign on as a signatory. You'll be able to say, hey, I believe in this, and be a part of the community. So that'll be coming in a couple of weeks when we officially launch our new website. And finally, if you want to just go ahead and sign up to get updates, to be the first to know about EOP, this QR code will actually open the newsletter sign up. So you can use that. And you can see, I think in the chat, there are there may be a link, or yeah, Cindy Anderson has added a link. So I am so grateful for this program and everyone that has made it a success. I'm so excited to hear from the participants. The EOP mission is really open to anyone and everyone. Lemelson and our partner VentureWell, we catalyzed this, but we are just reflecting what the community wanted. We don't own EOP, it's there for you. And I hope that you're joining us in this mission, and look forward to engaging. Oh, and I'm going to share you my email address in case folks have questions for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy. That was great and very enlightening. And I didn't know that we had Harvey Mudd College in common. So that is a new thing. So with that, we're now going to hear a few words from our advisory board. The EOP-MGP advisory board has been an invaluable part of the project team for the inaugural cohort. Our board members come from both industry and academia and are involved with every aspect of the program, from the applicant process to the program evaluation. You can see here our advisory board members, and they will be speaking to us in a few minutes. First up, we will be having Michelle Payne from Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. As Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering, she is currently leading a student research project investigating the ability of constructed treatment wetlands to remove stormwater pollutants. Michelle co-host Rose-Hulman's first appropriate technology course, in which students design novel ways to pump water to reach the off-the-grid village. Next up, we would also like to welcome Aisha Lowry. She joined us from Amazon Web Services, where she leads training and certification for the Global Education Program. She has over 20 years of experience as a STEM advocate with a focus on increasing the number of women in engineering. And the last advisory board member that you will hear from today is David Sanchez. He's Associate Director of the Mascaro Center for Sustainable Innovation at the University of Pittsburgh. Dr. Sanchez is responsible for building research and scholarly initiatives around sustainable water, sustainable food, sustainable innovation, and global engagement. He also oversees the undergraduate and graduate sustainability curriculum at the University School of Engineering. With that, I will turn it over to our advisory board members.
Thank you, Jackie. I am so honored to be a part of this cohort. This cohort is so creative and extremely capable. And I just wanted to highlight a few of the impact metrics that we have identified as part of this inaugural cohort. There have been 34 new courses, and I want to note that these are outcomes from 13 teams. So this is quite amazing, in my opinion. Over 1,600, mostly undergraduate students, have been impacted as part of this effort. And I think it is so exciting that so many undergraduates in particular have been a part of this, because they are early in their careers and have the ability to be choosing what they're doing and impacting not just their own futures and making impacts that way, but also impacting our educational system as we work as a team. And then finally, nearly 50 faculty were part of this cohort on those 13 teams. And together, I think there's a lot of opportunity for the students and faculty, students and industry, as these students now will go out this next summer to internships, and then faculty and industry to continue this community of practice. And I also want to note that all of this happened in less than 1 year, which I think is also quite amazing. And so I just want to encourage you also as a mentor for this, this work that we've been doing to continue to work to share what you've done and make connections, because I think that there's a lot of interest and a lot of potential for some really great connections and impact.
So thanks so much. Happy to be a part of this cohort, and just the same sentiments that Michelle mentioned. This is a great opportunity. And Cindy also, talked about, it's about changing the course of engineering. So we really need to look at how we transform the engineering culture before we can make any changes to any particular programs or universities or degrees. We really have to change the culture. And so, I'll just talk about some of the characteristics of Cohort I. And before I do that, I just want to talk about how the EOP framework was really revised based upon a pilot grantee feedback that we received, as well as additional public comment. And so reviewers were really asked to really prioritize, diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, environmental justice and usability. And so we received more than 600 comments where they were synthesized and used to really redefine and refine the document, looking at it from these lenses with this in mind. And so that's where we went to revise, and I was happy to be a part of that process. So we really want to make sure that there was a commitment to the applicants and really having them to really understand the EOP framework. And then the selection of the faculty, to have champions who really have an appetite and a desire to really be able to lead this curricular change, which is so important, for their students, for their programs, and, just for their courses. And then, being able to scale, not only to keep it where it is, but how do we scale this up? And that scaling really needs to come with a commitment, whether it is from leadership, within a department, the dean, or even the president of the university. And then the commitment, which I talked about in terms of DEIJ and changing the approach and the outcomes. We really have to focus on transformation, not just making a change here or there, but how do we transform this culture? Students really need to be reached out to, right? So the ability to reach students in diverse engineering disciplines. And I'll also note that not only did we focus on making sure that we reached out to schools of engineering, but there are also, members of the cohort who are outside of the School of Engineering. And that is just, how important we felt it was to have diversity within this particular area of, sustainability and engineering. Making sure that there was inclusion with MSIs and HBCUs, as well as community colleges. And we really felt like, this is really going to improve, more engagement, more learning and social experiences, not only for the engineering students, but for the faculty and then for the degree programs and the universities as well. So I'm really happy with the level of commitment that we've had and the diversity of this cohort. Thank you.
Thanks, Aisha. I'll be the last one. Congratulations to everybody, especially to Cohort I. Must admit, giving us the first round. Not everything was always easy, but seeing all the teams kind of lean in and work with it was truly inspiring. I wanted to highlight the interdisciplinary aspect of this. We clearly have, engineering, but in here we also had representation from business, law, art and design, industrial manufacturing, robotics, material science, environmental management, and computer science. I highlight this really because, most of the things about EOP require you to relentlessly partner to go outside of your discipline or to upgrade your discipline. What you're doing is not always easy because you're having to go above and beyond. And so this is really unique, and I commend you. I commend you for it. In many ways, you are emulating the kind of skills that our students need in order to problem solve for our grand challenges, right? These are the critical thinking, the communication and teamwork, really looking at how to solve problems with, in partnerships. The second bullet I have here is, you're broadening the conventional perspective of engineering. Oftentimes, we have certain things and skills that students need. This is moving beyond, the plug and chug or following a recipe for a design. It's actually requiring them to incorporate all other aspects: environmental literacy, social impact, materials choice. And this is not only what's needed for sustainability challenges, but makes them much more well-rounded in terms of how they engage the profession, the community, and even their future clients. The last part about this that was really inspiring and intriguing to me is, I think it was Michelle or Aisha who mentioned it. This is from 13, right? There are 13 of you. ASEE engages over 5,000 engineering programs. You saw the president of ABET earlier. They accredit about 3,800 programs. And here we're starting with 13. So we're kind of, looking forward to add to this network of sustainability educators, and really appreciate the examples that you've created for us to kind of point to. So thanks so much. I enjoyed being a part of it.
Thanks, Advisory Committee. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your reflections with us today and all the great work that you've really put into this program. Now it's time for the team poster presentations. So teams, when you're called on by ASW staff member Alex Sharp, we will share your poster on the screen. Please remember that your presentation cannot exceed 3 minutes, and there'll be a 1 minute for comments after each presentation. We will take a 15-minute break after all of the teams have presented, we're going to take a break after half of the teams have presented their posters. So with that, go ahead, Alex. Alex, if you're speaking.
I am here. I had to run away to change a diaper, and we're going to start with our first team. I'm so sorry. Needs must. Our first team is Tyler Smith from Bradley University. So I'm going to share the slide with Tyler's poster on it. Okay, Tyler, take it away.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for having me. Thank you for being here. And I I wanted to thank my mentors, Larry and David, for their guidance and support throughout this project. And thanks, of course, to the ASEE. So like Cindy, I am not an engineer by trade, but I have a law background. So as a team of one, I decided to do this project to help infuse some law and some broader perspectives into engineering and to our specific to our engineering program at Bradley University. And so let me just pull up my copy here. So my idea for the project was to create Canvas modules for engineering classes. So essentially modules that the engineering professors could use and adapt to their own classes. So unlike a lot of my other colleagues in the cohort, I did not teach any of those classes. So I really had to think about how these modules would be used. So I had 3 topic areas from the framework. So each topic area became a unit, if you will, in Canvas. So I used environmental literacy, responsible business and economy, social responsibility, and I created a variety of texts and videos and assignments and assessments for each one of those modules. So 2 civil engineering courses piloted the modules this past semester, so fall. An intro to civil engineering course used the environmental literacy unit, and then the ethics and sustainability course used all 3 units. And I was fortunate enough to have the support of the Associate Dean of New Initiatives, Dr. Chris, who he's an engineer by trade, but he's really great working with the business faculty, and he taught CE 383, the ethics and sustainability class. So I had his support, which was great. So one of the things that I was passionate about for this project was really making sure that engineers consider the social, legal, and future impacts of their work. And one of the examples that you see here on my poster is a screenshot of a video that I made where I actually went to Ottawa, Illinois, where there were some old factories there that had used radium to paint watch dials, and that area, some of those sites are still being cleaned up 100 years later. So that was a big part of the impact that I wanted to create for this plan, for this program, these modules. I'm going to continue that, and these modules will be available on Engineering Unleashed as cards. So that's what I plan to do going in the future. So I think I'm right at 3 minutes.
That was perfect. Thank you so much, Tyler. And I see a message in the chat. We'll be able to go full screen on the poster. I understand there's a lot of text on these, but I believe they will be posted to the EOP-MGP website as well. So now we have 1 nice minute of feedback from our mentors for Tyler.
And I'll hop in. I think Larry is also on the call. Tyler did a phenomenal job. I mean, the only thing I would say is, for anybody who's really interested in doing, expanding on environmental literacy or the social impact, I'd actually encourage you to reach out to him and try and connect to see his modules. I mean, one above and beyond in terms of creating videos, creating it so it was really easy and actually works so that it would fit directly in the other person's class. So great job, Tyler.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, Tyler. This is Larry. I think you did a great job as well. A very innovative approach. And I think I've said in a previous meeting, I would encourage everybody to watch the video you made entitled Radium Girls. It's really excellent. I would really like to hear some feedback from the students in those classes that might have watched that. A very nice approach. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. And I just enabled the attendees to be able to chat with everybody. So please also feel free to share your kudos with our presenters. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Thank you.
Okay, and our next poster presenter is Hydran Mumper Drum from Art Center College of Design. I may need to zoom in more on this one, so you let me know what you want. Here we go.
Okay, hello everyone. Let me just make sure you can see me and hear me. I'm Hydron Mumper-Drum from Art Center College of Design, and I am presenting the work that I did with my faculty partner, Jonathan Abarbanel, who will be joining us a little later in the session. Design is messy, which is why designers are so very process-driven, and also why Jonathan and I quite naturally turned to creating a process for learning that would lead to competency in design for sustainability for our industrial design students. Our poster illustrates a process of progressively integrating sustainability content into an 8-term product design program. We've broken down the sequence of our work into 4 major thresholds. The first threshold is diagram 1 at the top, titled Expansion of Sustainability Themes. It was established when we adopted a new sustainability program learning outcome for the product department. It serves as our keystone for the development and ongoing deployment of a sustainability curriculum. Diagram 1 illustrates the transition from sustainability in some of the courses to sustainability in all core studio courses. Diagram 2 below is our sustainability ladder. It represents the disaggregation of sustainability content into term-appropriate learning modules. Viewed and experienced as a ladder, learning takes place term by term, stepwise. It is additive and repetitive. Diagram 2 also illustrates sustainability heuristics to the right of the ladder as a set of exercises in which students experiment with and practice sustainability skills. To make it a little easier to read, diagram 3 describes the 8 heuristic categories that we developed. We are continuously working on these strategy exercises. We have more than 30 thus far, and are currently focused on values-based social cultural best practice strategies. Moving on to diagram 4, student projects. What constitutes competence and how to measure it is still in discussion. Diagram 4 illustrates an initial survey of student work in which we clustered sustainability-focused concepts and noted awards, prizes, and recognition as signs of growing competence. We will continue to monitor student work and will survey sustainability learning at intervals throughout the 8-term program. The graduation term will be an especially important review of the sustainability curriculum. In conclusion, our sustainability keystone supports a number of goals that are noted on the poster, 2 of which I'd like to end with, and that is that competency in applying sustainability principles and strategies is, in our mind, the most effective means of improving design outcomes overall, and importantly, providing a lifelong professional and personal motivation to be a designer and engineer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hydron. We have a little less than a minute for feedback.
Everybody, I'm Steph Kohler. I was one of Hydrum's mentors alongside Megan Wingrove. Yeah, I just want to say that it's been such a gift to work with you two on this project. And, you know, I recognize in this community that, and I want to call it a community, not a cohort, right? Because it's so much more than just, you know, these sessions, that there's such a spectrum of expertise. And so it was really exciting to watch the newbies, you know, take on learning while doing, and then the experts like you who have been working to integrate this for a while, use that very thinking of systems thinking to say, you know what, we are going to integrate this full stop across all of the parts, and to get buy-in from the administration and the university at large. It's just a really beautiful example of how it trickles and touches everything. And you've been able to do that through the very ethos of sustainability. So I appreciate you and all that you've done and being able to be a part of this whole cohort.
Thank you, Steph. We have even more goals. We're hoping that once we get through 8 terms of the industrial design program, we can go back to the chairs, which are basically our deans, and use it as a model for the other departments to do a like program.
Love it. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, and then we have our next presentation is from Gamini Mendes from Penn State Behrend. Ooh, wrong one. There we go.
Hi, folks. First, I want to thank Larry and David, my mentors, for their advice, ASEE and the Lemelson Foundation for organizing this and funding it. This was a really great opportunity for me. I teach at Penn State Behrend, which is a smaller campus at the Penn State system, primarily undergraduate. And I'm in a brand new program, Polymer Engineering and Science. The kind of history of Behrend focuses on the plastics engineering technology program. And we realize the plastics industry isn't necessarily the most sustainable. So when I was hired, I was brought in to teach polymer engineering and science, and specifically this course, polymer sustainability. And I designed the course and have improved it through this EOP framework to hit on all aspects of sustainability so that undergrads can understand how they can make plastic systems more sustainable. The course introduces sustainability and how it interacts with economic systems. There's a big focus on life cycle analysis and supply chains. And then we run into polymer and small molecule toxicity, systems thinking about circularity in plastic systems, regulations, and new end-of-life technologies. Through the EOP framework, I identified a couple of points where I could kind of bolster the existing curriculum. I introduced a couple discussions on the ethical obligations of engineers to serve the planet and other communities. Through discussions with my mentors and Tyler, I introduced a module on Cancer Alley and how the externalities from the plastic system can affect local communities and others that are not conventionally thought of in the plastic system. And I also introduced a hands-on functional unit example in my life cycle analysis module, where I had students make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with a bunch of different components to understand how different material makeups can vary between different systems and how to standardize or normalize a functional unit in disparate systems. This was a really great experience for me, and I think it's really strongly affected how the class flows throughout the semester. So with that, I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Now a little bit of time for feedback.
Yeah, I was just going to comment, for Gamini, it was kind of easy. His background kind of lends itself to sustainability work. He had a very, very packed class, and he was very, very innovative and creative in terms of how he infused many of the EOP framework into his class. You clearly can see his creativity with his, his sandwich making, exercise. But I thought he did a fantastic job. Good job. Congrats, Gamini.
Thanks.
Yeah, Gamini, you did a fantastic job. I want to just say, I think some of the times that what David and I had to do is kind of try to get you to do less. You're very ambitious, and it's really phenomenal what you did, and I really enjoyed meeting with you. And I would actually really very much like to take your class.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Our next presentation is from Lan Jume from University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Here we go. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lanju Mei, and I'm from University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. First of all, I'd like to appreciate this opportunity from ASEE, and I also want to thank our mentors, Cindy and Jim, for their continuous support for this effort. So our team proposed to implement the sustainable engineering modules in 2 engineering core courses. First is the junior level course, heat transfer. The other is senior level course, senior design project. So the objective is to infuse the concept of the EOP sustainable framework into the engineering curriculum at UMES. So the procedure and method used for this project is that in these 2 courses, we implemented the modules that from the ventureware tools for design, so how to implement the framework into the classes. So in heat transfer, we implemented 4 modules: introduction to sustainable engineering, whole system mapping, energy effectiveness, greener materials. And these modules are very relevant to the content in the heat transfer. And we use some videos, and we present some articles and news with emerging issues to the students to inspire students about the concept. And then we use some examples from ventureware to demonstrate the procedures to think about this kind of problem. And we also have a in-class discussion to get the feedback from the students. And after that, for each module, we have homework assignment to let students to explore further and get more understanding about each module. And in senior design project, so the students are able to learn the modules about the whole system mapping. And after that, we inspire the student to use that method in their senior design project as much as possible. So basically, they watch some examples videos, and so potentially they can apply the concept they learned into their real design project. So the progress for this project, so till now we have implemented all the proposed modules into the classes. And also we have conducted the end of semester survey to get the feedback from the students. So through the for the evaluation, we use the class discussion, homework assignment, and the end of the semester survey to get the students' opinion about this effort and understand their understanding about this sustainability framework. So from this evaluation, we can see that the students get a very good understanding about the knowledge we presented to the students. And actually, they are very interested in this effort, and they are looking forward to having more modules in our curriculum. And the impact is that, so we had this opportunity to present the students from minority groups at HBCU to learn the knowledge about engineering sustainability, and also we raise the awareness of the global sustainability issues. So the references we used are most from ventureware, the tools for design. So these modules, a lot of material are from this web page. And we also use some other references from design life cycle or product design. Okay. So we really appreciate this opportunity, and we look forward to continue working on this project, and hopefully we can expand this effort and probably to impact more students in our curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lanju. Now time for a quick feedback.
Cindy Anderson, James, good afternoon. Do you want to make a quick comment first?
Thanks, James. Yes, absolutely. Lanju, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations. I'm very, very proud of the work that you've done. I would love to just shine a light on the fact that you really from the very beginning were building the plane as you were flying it with this, especially your heat transfer class. And I really appreciated how you took the time to dive into these online freely available tools and learn the materials yourself. Like literally a week before you'd put it into your class, you'd get feedback from your students and you'd continue to iterate. And I think that's really brave for an educator. So very well done. And I'll pass the baton to James.
Yeah. Lanju, I appreciated working with you over recent months. First of all, my background is mechanical engineering, and so working on the heat transfer class, it was good to think about those, and I teach a good bit about design. And so I felt from a mentor mentee perspective, we were a good match, lots of good overlap. And I loved the way you took recommendations and ideas and incorporated them into real teaching. And so I commend you for the effort. And I should say, I know you're going to be part of the broader EOP network. And so I'm glad we're going to have a chance to continue to interact and engage with one another in the months ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for your suggestions.
Thank you so much. Okay. And our next presentation is Ali Reza Mohammadi from University of Michigan, Dearborn.
Great, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Basically, just like Lanju, I was also had the privilege of being mentored by Cindy and James. Basically, my research, I would say that the ASEE project was about integrating sustainability concepts in robotics. Interesting enough, sustainability concepts are very new to the field of robotics education, and almost no curricular activities and initiatives had been available. So we were among the very, I would say even the first to come up with these sustainability ideas. Specifically at Dearborn, we developed the sustainability for robotics and robotics for sustainability curriculum modules that were centered around mini projects along the lines of project-based learning, PBL philosophy, because we know that from PBL, that would also increase the learning outcomes and basically it's a very proven, it's a great technique for increasing the learning outcomes. Now, along the things that we did in these projects, one of the things was that we basically considered some elements of energy efficiency, eco-friendliness, and socioeconomic sustainability in a last mile delivery mobile robotic system. So not only robots can basically help to increase some elements of sustainability in the community, but also they might create pollution. So using lithium-ion batteries. So the question is, can we also do a reverse thing from the perspective of, I would say, increasing sustainability in a robotic system? Not only that, but again, through Cindy, we basically had access to some great resources, such as the Inventing Green toolkit for sustainable design, and we use that to, basically to create some questions and challenges for the students. For instance, what would happen to the community that robotics startup or initiative was basically, had started? How the raw material, from the robots that would go out of service can be used for another product or company, and in this way, it would basically help to create a I would say circular economy. Or how does basically as I said, how does a company or industry would impact the community and the planet that works in the area of robotics? Now, from the perspective of progress and planning for scaling up, despite the fact that it was at this, in the very first stage, it was something that we intended it for robotics courses at Dearborn, we will definitely reach out to a colleague who's teaching the Engineering 100 course, and we would even try to introduce some of those concepts into her course through this collaboration. We have also had the privilege and opportunity to be fully supported by our great Dean, Dean Gassan Creakley. And I know, I think that Dr. El Sayed also knows our Dean. We have had this basically great privilege and blessing to be supported fully by our basically Dean. Another interesting thing is that despite the fact that we were mostly into the educational things on sustainability, my colleague and I are trying to basically branch into research efforts because here at the University of Michigan system, we have got the Grant Institute for Sustainability, and they provide research grants for sustainability initiatives as well. And finally, from the evaluation and impact perspective, because many of our graduates would end up in the robotics and automation sectors in Southeast Michigan, we asked them how likely it is that they would basically promote sustainability concepts in their workplace. Basically, a good portion of them are very likely to promote these very important concepts in their workplaces when they graduate. So they think that it would be a long-lasting impact. And finally, I would like to first acknowledge this great support from the Lemelson Foundation and also the wonderful mentoring and support that we got from our mentors, Cindy and James.
Thank you so much, Ali Reza. Now some feedback.
Cindy, I'll let you go first.
Always such a gentleman, James. Thank you so much for your presentation, Ali. It was really a pleasure working with you. You always showed up so over prepared. I was so impressed. I was like, I wish I had students like Ali. You really did a wonderful job. And again, just like I said with Lanju, I was impressed at both of your willingness to pick up materials you hadn't seen before, learn them yourself, and then engage with them with your students. And the other thing two things I wanted to highlight for people in case they want to get in touch with you is that you did I think a really wonderful job at creating a rubric to assess student learning, which I think is a big challenge for a lot of people when they're integrating the framework. So I just want to highlight that in case people want to get in touch with you. And then also I like that you pushed your robotics students to really be thinking critically and reflecting on their feelings in some of your written assignments, which I think is probably quite atypical for our robotics class. So well done.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate all your support and also James' support. Specifically some of the great ideas that you provided me and Lanju were great. One of them was basically using the Venture Well toolkit. Another one was the idea of sprinkling the themes of Jedi into our basically projects and material that we prepared for our students. So from that perspective, I really owe it to both of you. Thank you very much for all your great help.
And I would just echo one of Cindy's comments. I appreciated as we got on the line over the months, the energy that Ali, not only the preparation, but the energy that you brought into the meetings every day. And I would also reinforce something that you, Ali, yourself said at the outset today, which is thinking about sustainability in this realm of robotics and engineering. It's not quite an area that I work in directly, but yeah, it's not an area where the roadmap exists prior to some of this work. And so we had meetings kind of brainstorming, throwing ideas back and forth. And, it was obvious that you were very engaged in thinking, how does sustainability fit in to this, corner of engineering? And so I really appreciated seeing you put your thinking cap on, working with you across boundaries. And as Cindy says, seeing your preparation and what you delivered at the end. Well done.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So before we go into our next presentation, I just want to make a quick programming note. I would love to keep the momentum going here. So we are going to nix the break. We're going to keep rolling through all the presentations. If you do need to step away, this meeting will be recorded and will be shared with everybody and also posted on our program website. So without further ado, our next presenter is Eric Jones from the University of Texas at Arlington. And Here we go.
Hello, Eric Jones from UTA, and I implemented sustainability into my statistics class. It's actually called engineering probability, but it's basically a statistics class, and it's required for all the engineering students. It covers, descriptive statistics, hypothesis testing, linear regression, and traditionally there's a project in this class where the students pick their own data set and they run. They do 3 parts. So instead of doing that, I modified it. So I suggested whole first page of the project sheet now is a list of data sets that they can use that had to do with some sustainability outcome. I provided quizzes throughout the class on what is sustainability, had them look up the EOP framework, SDG goals, engineering grand challenges, and then I had them relate that those sustainability metrics to their actual data set. So it started off a little rough. They have these data sets. The first one's descriptive statistics, so just mean, median, mode. Now I asked them, how did that relate to sustainability? And so I guess the innovation I've done here is I created, so there's 4 parts to the report. So the first part, they do descriptive statistics. I asked them sustainability. They gave me a canned answer. I give them feedback. The second part, they give me a slightly better answer. They're kind of getting the hang of it. The third part, give me a really good answer, and so on and so forth it goes. So that's the introduction. The evaluation of this was exactly what I just said. So each report, there's 4 parts to it. They would write a section. I give them comments. They have to incorporate those comments into their first part of the report while adding on to the second part. So by the time the 4th parts are done, they had around 15 pages, really well written, really well researched, and how sustainability fit into their data set. So I had students look at the price of biodiesel versus ethanol, how they're related, do a linear regression graph accordingly, and the implications of that. So why is there a divergence between the biodiesel and ethanol? And what does that mean for sustainability? Does that mean there's more greenhouse gases because biodiesel is too expensive? Or how does that affect the food production? So I got really thoughtful answers on these things. There's other ones that are energy use in schools, how they correlated with building size and how they diverge based on region, what that means for sustainability. I had other ones that are a little out there, such as UFO sightings. How is that related to sustainability? So it was really interesting to see the students, 1, pick their data sets, 2, kind of start incorporating the EOP framework, and 3, how sustainability fits into what they're investigating and how statistics fits into that. So the plan for scaling up, UTA actually has a pretty big push towards sustainability. There's a faculty advisory network for sustainability, and we have a new program called Resource and Energy Engineering. So I modeled this as a pilot project to see that if you can put the EOP framework in a class that is pretty basic, every engineer has to take probability statistics, you can do it in any class, especially if those have a project. You just have to encourage students to think about how the project relates to sustainability. There's also, we have a thing called Maverick Advantage, where students take certain courses because they have a topic that they're hammering home. So there's 4 different areas now. I'm pushing to add a 5th one for sustainability. There's a service learning program here, which is pretty good. So overall, the idea was to implement sustainability in a core class using the project. And if it could be done for probability, which is no one's favorite class, can be done for quite a few other ones. So that was the project in a nutshell.
Great, thank you. Feedback for Eric?
Awesome. Thank you.
Eric, I think your mentors might have left the chat, but we have some feedback from Cindy Cooper. Fantastic approach. Great job.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Okay, our next presentation is... David already knows because I saw his face. Here you go.
Yeah, thank you. And sound a bit weird working off the tail end of a code.
cold, sorry. But yeah, so I focused on the chemical engineering capstone course and bringing sustainability concepts and kind of updating our curriculum in that respect. I had experience updating our curriculum, starting our new sustainable engineering course, and as well as a new course, air pollution control engineering or pollution control engineering. So kind of dealing with the downstream effects of basically everything we do from an industrial perspective. And with this one, it was really great because we, with my co-instructor, who I owe many thanks to, we developed modules on sustainable engineering, kind of green chemistry concepts, organized a field trip to our central utilities plant. So that photograph in the center of the posters are a new, well, at the time it was a new chiller, 2015 when that was photo was taken. But that was really great because it was the first kind of field trip that the students ever told me they had really been on in our department. And I was like, well, it's a bit odd. I'm glad that we got one under our belt. But it was really good to see, to watch them understand how everything works from a sustainability perspective, especially with energy. I mean, basis of all chemical engineering is you have to understand where your mass ends up, what you start with, and where your energy, how it's being used. So our mass and energy balances, that's what we do. And that's what I tried to add our sustainability concepts to every module along the way, even materials of construction and so on. So we had guest lectures on corporate sustainability to kind of offer that business perspective, because some of the students are more interested in that than some of the technical matters. Then we also had scenarios of sustainable design that utilizing our process simulation software. They can get CO2 estimates from these simulations, and then compare it to their own calculations. And then, a host of smaller assignments and things like that, formative assessments along the way. But the main thing that I really focused on were these senior capstone projects. Everybody has to do one of these. And we have at the moment 29, or this year, we have 29 students working on anywhere of 12 projects. Some are independent research, some are with big corporations like Lockheed Martin Space Systems, and they, over 8 months, the entire school year, they work with a technical or industrial advisor from those companies and basically design the entire process, basically a chemical plant or the equivalent of a chemical plant. So it's really great but there's more work for the instructors, because we have to cast kind of a wide net and then narrow in on these projects. But also in the poster there and at the bottom of that first column, that kind of spider plot is the typical, it's the footprint of your like carbon, your energy, your work effort. Oh, there we go. Thank you. And so all of these footprints that we hear about, even in media, but then we add the cost and the engineering economics component to it, and that really lets the students see what impact all those footprints have on, at the end of the day, how much something's going to cost. Because that's, if you can sell it to a business person like that or a corporation, then odds are stronger that it will be followed through, hopefully in a sustainable manner like that. So, and we've had great success informally this first semester in the fall, and co-instructor and I are carrying that into the spring. So we're half done, and actually with a colleague at Auburn University, we are using a previous survey that he got published, some results on engineering education, and we're going to, we have given that survey with a sustainable approach, and we hope to get a couple of publications actually out of that early summer or so. But yeah, I'd like to just thank Steph and Megan, the mentors. Without their help, I would have gone off on we'll call it a tangent for now. But yeah, so thank you for bringing me back into line. And of course, the Lemelson Foundation and ASEE for having these opportunities for us.
Thank you, David. And the mentors?
Yeah, great work, David. I wouldn't call it a tangent. I would just kind of echo what someone said earlier of like just wrangling you in. Your ambitions were so huge. And so that was a beautiful starting place. And then it was great to see how you started to kind of hone that in, get really good at one thing. It was also beautiful to watch how your students were experiencing the power of place-based learning, right? Like getting to actually go to that plant and see, you know, have that visceral experience is such a critical part of what's going to show up later in life when when you're jogging your memories of like formative moments. So I think that was really great to watch. And then just personally, your resilience throughout this process. I know you had like life, a lot of stuff happening, and that resilience is embodying the ethos of what this is doing. So I super appreciate that. And I'm really excited to see how you're bringing this work into other universities, personally and amongst your connections. Anybody who's thinking about applying, beautiful to watch the cohort learn from each other, like big and little things, right? How do we measure this? I have no idea. Oh, I made an assessment for that. What assignments can we use to support systems thinking? How do we gain traction with our administration? So there's so much more outside of these projects that I've come to experience by being a part of this. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Our next presentation is from Juan Lucena at the Colorado School of Mines, and it is a recording. So let's hope the video with sound works again.
Hello, my name is Juan Lucena, and I'm professor of humanitarian engineering at the Colorado School of Mines. I will be presenting my Engineering for One Planet project on socially just sustainability, research translation, and extension into engineering education. My project is about research translation and extension of graduate level research in humanitarian engineering and science in order to disseminate the relationship between sustainability and social justice in a number of courses. The first year and third year design courses at Mines, fourth year course in engineering for sustainable community development that then leads to senior design. Also extension and translation into future humanitarian engineering and science graduate thesis to repeat this cycle. And then of course, into the communities that the students want to serve. By research extension, I mean the alignment of academic research that sometimes can be esoteric and abstract with the needs and interests of underserved communities. And by research extension, I mean the alignment of the same type of academic research conducted by graduate students with the needs and interests of engineering undergraduates, usually in the form of undergraduate design projects. So what I have done so far is I have advised a number of theses, graduate theses, in the topic of recycling electronic and construction waste to empower communities in Latin America. We're working in Colombia and we're working in Argentina. Both of these theses have research, translation, and extension components. How is that? Well, the first one has been in the first year design course. So the research that these wonderful graduate students have done in these topics have been the main theme for the first year design course that was taken by 625 freshmen that entered the Colorado School of Mines in fall 2022. They actually carried out 125 projects, and all of the students had to deal with this topic, whether they like it or not. Fortunately, they liked it, and they came out with really neat design projects. The second course that I work with is the third year project for people design course. That's 25 juniors in 5 projects. This is a higher level ideation and prototyping, again, also in recycling of electronic and construction waste, working with communities, mostly in Colombia, but also in Argentina. This semester, I am working in my own course, Engineering for Sustainable Community Development, with 25 students and 6 projects. We're actually going to go to Colombia and work with recycling communities of electronic waste. And we are going to bring those projects back into 4th year capstone. So this is a very comprehensive intervention that I'm doing throughout the curriculum. The challenges that we have and the next steps, well, first to recruit students from that 1st year design course into humanitarian engineering minors, so they actually will be exposed more to the Engineering for One Planet framework. Recruiting 3rd and 4th year course from students from those courses to the Masters in Humanitarian Engineering and Science, again, also to expose them to more engineering for One Planet framework. The biggest challenge that I see here is that many of these students have had 1 semester of assignment Engineering for One Planet course, but then they go out into the rest of the curriculum to be socialized in what Erin Seck, the famous sociologist of engineering, has called the culture of disengagement. So as I have begun discussions with the Engineering for One Planet team, mentors, and grantees, is how can we tackle these ideological and cultural constraints so our efforts in courses do not have to face such a significant challenge of the culture of disengagement in engineering education. Thank you for your attention. Here's my email and my website in case you're interested.
Okay, any feedback for Juan? All right, well, though Juan could not join us today, we thank him. Oh, I see Steph. Next up is Ronisha Worthy from Kennesaw State.
Beautiful. All right, so we are up. Hello, everybody. So I am presenting to you my presentation. And so when I say ecosystems of learning, I'm really kind of focusing on how the EOP framework has allowed me to create these interactions and interconnected networks both inside and outside of my university. So I'm from Kennesaw State University, and we have a long history of incorporating sustainability into our curriculum. Even when I first got there, I was a sustainability fellow, and my approach as I was trying to put sustainability into my classes was a bit clumsy, and I was always looking for a better way to do things. And so in walks the EOP framework, which not only gave us the connections to our current engineering curriculum, let's be honest, it connects to ABET, so that's always great. But one thing that I really liked about this particular cohort is that it challenged us as faculty to incorporate justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion into the learning process. So I got crazy. I put EOP framework in all of my classes that I was teaching, but I'm only going to talk about one today, which is my Intro to Civil and Environmental Engineering course. So immediately when I first got this, I knew that I was going to work with one of my colleagues, Katie Ann Callahan. We had already been talking about incorporating service learning. She's a math education professor, and we love to get our students outside of the classroom. So I knew that this cross-discipline approach that we've been talking about today would work in this setting. And so we partnered with the Southeastern Trust for Parks and Lands to serve a local community recreational park. And there was some soil samples that Katie Ann's students could do. And then they wanted my engineering students to kind of help them solve a problem related to getting water onto the site for a community garden that they had there. So my students were going to design some type of rain capture system for them. So when we started the project, immediately I had a problem. had like over 100 students, which was not going to work for us for this semester with this particular project. So I had to brainstorm some ways. And so what we figured out was that we could offer the students alternative projects and they could pick. And at that moment in time, I didn't realize that we were actually putting a bit of inclusivity into this particular course, because the students could pick based on their interests and what projects they were connected to. And so I thought that was really cool. So in the implementation part of the project, we use critical reflection to assess. And so you kind of see these numbers up here based on my research question. I really wanted to know whether or not the act of putting EOP framework into the course actually made the students more connected to the coursework and the materials. And so as you can see, it actually really did. Anecdotally, I could hear students saying, oh, okay, we're doing systems thinking, or we're actually doing practicing some technical skills when we're doing material selection. So I thought that that was really good. And the fact that over 70% of the students that participated actually had a high impact or gained a high impact from the EOP framework design course was really something to talk about, and it got recognition across the university. So in closing, I do want to give some thanks out to the Lemelson Foundation. I want to also thank my mentors, David and Larry. They have been awesome with not just this project, but with other things related to universities and assessments and everything. So I really want to thank them, as well as ASEE for supporting us on this project. So I will stop there.
Thank you, Renisha.
Hi, Ronisha. This is Larry. Great presentation. I really want to applaud you for the bravery that you've displayed in taking this on. I recall also that not only was this interdisciplinary, but across environmental science and engineering, but also first-year students. And the fact that you have 72% reporting high impact is just phenomenal, just phenomenal.
Thank you for your advice on assessments. That was really helpful because I was going to over-engineer them.
All right, thank you. And next we have, I believe, Andrea Arstragati from Tennessee Tech. Great, 1 second. There you go.
Perfect, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Arstragati. I will be presenting the EOP BioFoundry Initiative at Tennessee Tech University on behalf of my colleagues, Dr. Pedro Arce, Deepinder Waggle, and J. Robbie Sanders. To better understand the EOP BioFoundry Initiative, we did want to provide a brief description of the Renaissance Foundry model. The Renaissance Foundry model is an innovation-driven learning platform that does ask student teams to not only identify a socially relevant challenge that is connected to the course content, but it also guides teams in both knowledge acquisition and knowledge transfer processes to better understand that challenge, and then eventually develop a prototype of innovative technology. Now, this is important for understanding the EOP BioFoundry Initiative because we did implement this initiative within Foundry guided courses, specifically in the chemical engineering department at Tennessee Tech. And so what we wanted to do in terms of the EOP BioFoundry Initiative was actually build on earlier efforts at trying to integrate sustainability in the design thinking process of our student teams within these courses. And what we found in earlier iterations of what we called the BioFoundry Initiative was not only did students have interest in sustainability, but they were trying to integrate it in ways that may or may not have been intentional. And so when we started looking at sustainability integration into design thinking, we began with elements of biomimicry. And that was the first iteration of the BioFoundry initiative at Tennessee Tech. And we collected data in spring 2021, and we saw that our students, did not only did they maintain interest, but there was a need for this intentionality. And so we were very excited to learn about the EOP framework and how that provided guidance or a way for our students to better integrate sustainability elements intentionally as part of the design thinking process when they were developing prototypes of innovative technology. And so as part of the EOP BioFoundry initiative, what we did in the fall 2022 semester was use it as a planning semester to help us better understand how our students were engaging in the design thinking process and leverage pilot data from spring 2021 to better understand how those prototypes of innovative technology aligned with the 9 elements of the EOP framework. And so what we saw in terms of this evaluation, this preliminary evaluation, is our students performed quite well in elements that overlapped with the Foundry model and the EOP framework, communication and teamwork, critical thinking, system thinking. But when it came to specific elements of the EOP framework that weren't necessarily integrated with the Foundry element, for example, material selection or responsible business and economy, those were identified as areas of improvement. And so for this semester, spring 2023, we actually leveraged this data to not only revamp, but redesign EOP-centered activities for our students to help them engage in these elements of sustainability and design as part of their prototype of innovative technology process. We will be doing a mixed methods analysis of student learning this semester, and we will be evaluating that to better understand how our students engage in learning with respect to the EOP framework for these specific prototypes. Utilizing this data, we hope to not only refine this process for future iterations of this course, but we also hope to scale up to other Foundry guided courses within CHEMI and the College of Engineering. To wrap up, we did want to thank everybody at ASEE, Lemelson Foundation, the mini grant program, as well as our wonderful mentors and all of our colleagues who have provided feedback and helped us out this year. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have feedback for Andrea? Well, thank you so much, Andrea. I really enjoyed your presentation, and what a beautiful poster. Okay, next up we have Lee Chen from the University of the District of Columbia.
Hello, everyone. It is my great honor to receive this EOP mini grant. The main goal of our team is to develop a syllabus for a course in quantum computing at the undergraduate level. Quantum computing is the next generation to energy saving and sustainability in terms of computing devices and computing power. It is because that we can use a small number of quantum bits to complete a large scale of computation, including data science and machine learning. We appreciate our advisor, Dr. Sanchez, and the mentors to provide advices to be better understanding sustainability components for these syllabus developments. Our team received excellent support from UDC administration after the completion of the syllabus. We have given 2 testing lectures to our undergraduate students to see if the concepts of quantum computing are suitable to our students. We have adjusted some strategies of teaching after the first lecture. We also wrote over 50 pages of lecture notes for this class. Due to the support of ASEE, EOP, and other colleagues of UDC, our department decided to offer quantum computing class for undergraduate students this spring semester. Just as this, our class now have 12 students, including 1 grad student. It is probably one of the first classes in quantum computing for HBCUs at the undergraduate level. Our teaching experience would help other HBCU universities for the similar classes in the future, I think. We have communicated with experts and the colleagues in other universities who have experience in teaching quantum computing classes. We received a lot of help. We have also sent a proposal to DIMAX, which is the Center for Discrete Mathematics and Computer Science at Rutgers, to have a seminar for undergrad students quantum computing class. We plan to submit a proposal to NSF or other grant agencies. Again, many thanks to ASEE and the Lemelson Foundation for the support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lee. Any feedback for Lee? It may come on a delay because I'm seeing some feedback now for Andrea in the chat. Okay, thank you so much, Lee.
Thanks.
Okay, and then we have their second to final presentation from either Yewande Abraham or Amanda Bao from RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I know it's been it's been a long afternoon, but thank you so much for sticking through this time. My name is Yewande Abraham, and I'll be presenting on behalf of my team from Rochester Institute of Technology. Our project was focused on implementing the EOP framework in the Civil Engineering Technology program here at RIT. So we understand the role of civil engineers and the importance in designing, construction, and the operation and maintenance of buildings and infrastructure. And the students enrolled in our program actually end up in courses in fields such as construction management, structural design, transportation, and wastewater treatment. They're required to complete co-ops as part of their educational experience, so it enables them get up to 1 year work experience in the civil engineering industry before graduation. So myself and Dr. Bao got together. She's the undergraduate coordinator for this program, and we're brainstorming ways in which we could incorporate the framework effectively into courses within our program. And we noticed that existing curriculum really doesn't adequately cover sustainability-related topics, and it's very important, especially considering a civil engineering program. So we looked at Introduction to Civil Engineering, which is a first-year course required by all civil engineering technology students, and then a 4th-year course in Structural Steel Design. Those 2 courses served as the pilot courses for the incorporation of the EOP framework. So we started by mapping the frameworks to our course learning outcomes and determined the ways that we could introduce learning activities to engage the students. So combining active learning with also the EOP framework. Through that, we hosted 2 guest lectures emphasizing the role of a civil engineer in promoting sustainability. We had students complete walkthroughs in sustainable buildings and then identify different components within those buildings. Students were able to build connections between different fields, understanding that civil engineers cannot work in isolation, but they work with different other types of engineering fields. And then we had lots of class discussions to looking at a comparison between different construction materials, identifying what the sustainability impacts are, and how the decisions civil engineers make have a long-lasting impact on the environment, on people, and the economy. So at the end of the course, we asked the students how their understanding of sustainability improved or changed since the beginning of the semester. And based on the feedback, we saw that over 80% of the students said it either improved or significantly improved. And then we asked the students also if they understood, if they had a better understanding of how civil engineers can contribute to a sustainable world. And over 90% of them said yes, they did have a better understanding of how civil engineers can contribute to a sustainable world. So that was a real good indication for us that the students understood the importance of sustainability. And then we looked at the top 3 EOP learning outcomes that were related to our courses, and then asked the students questions about how well they engage with the content and their confidence in carrying out the competencies related to those 3 learning outcomes. And the students did indicate that yes, they engaged very well with the content. Over 80% said they moderately engaged or largely engaged with the content. And over 92% said they were either moderately confident, highly confident, or very confident in implementing those competencies. So the data would really help us identify areas of improvement for future iterations of the course, and also help us see where the students had some feedback, like qualitative feedback on things that they would like to see in future offerings of the course. So we're able to incorporate the framework to teach students about sustainability concepts in our courses. We reached over 100 students and 3 faculty members. We presented the framework to other faculty in our department, and we're able to submit an abstract to the ASEE conference. Our future plans are to reach more students and faculty and hopefully, improve our next offering of the EOP framework in the courses for Introduction to Civil Engineering, Structural Steel Design. And we're also looking at having the EOP framework incorporated into technical electives within our program as well. And would like our students to gain confidence and also insight into sustainability related skill sets, and really help them, be better prepared to lead change in the future, especially seeing the opportunities to work in the civil engineering and construction industry before graduation, during their co-op years, and also after graduation. So I'd like to thank ASEE and the Lemelson Foundation for the funding that was provided, and also our mentors, Michelle, Claire, and Jeff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any feedback for you, Wande and Amanda? All right, keep your eyes on the chat.
Sure.
And now our final presentation. Oh, I saw a face pop up. Oh, it's our last presenter. Okay, and our final presentation is, drum roll, Chris Papadopoulos from the University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez.
Good afternoon. Can you hear okay?
Yeah, there's a slight echo. We can hear you.
Okay, let me. Right, thanks. So good afternoon. I'm also here with my class today. So I just shifted from the classroom to the local monitor, and there's no more echo, is there? Is that correct?
You're good.
Okay. So I'm not seeing the poster come up.
Well, that's because I forgot to click screen share. Here we go.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. And on behalf of our team, which is comprised of several faculty and students, I first want to thank our mentors, Bayo Agundipe and Andrea Welker, for their very valuable help during our various discussions and their good advice. I also want to recognize 2 of our deans, Bienvenido Veres and Cristina Pomales, and also 2 members of our stakeholder advisory board, Alba Colon and Elaine Rivera, who are with us today. Our idea is that if we look at the overall landscape of how sustainability is being approached, there are many excellent things happening, including what's happening with the EOP. But we also saw an opportunity where between this universe of several minor programs, major programs, environmental engineering programs, and other cross-cutting sustainability studies programs that are not engineering degree granting, our project is based on the idea that we also want to create a new bachelor's degree program in sustainability engineering that will attend broadly the 3 main pillars of sustainability holistically, which are commonly thought of people, profit, and prosperity, or equity, environment, and economy, but in a way that still yields an engineering degree at the end. And so we certainly are not trying to replace or substitute. We are trying to complement both the programs at our own campus and those at other institutions. But this is where we're going with our project. And as a formative key step, our immediate task that we're working on now is to develop a minor program in this area, but to be followed by the bachelor's program a couple years later. The circle at the left that's multicolored, that sort of looks like the sun, is just a design of our concept, which at the core, we want to see a cooperation and a blending of the STEM topics and the humanities and arts. followed by an opportunity for students to do some specialization in topics such as energy, materials, oceans, agriculture, and others. And then to be, finalized, of course, by capstone, but also research and practical training opportunities. And many of the broad things that we want to achieve are helping our students develop sustainability mindset, make them involved in the community of practice, workforce development, and also we do have a commitment toward increasing participation of women and JEDI overall, and also a robust stakeholder engagement process. As we've gone through this process, the flow chart at the bottom left shows our trajectory of several important formative steps, which started in the summer of 2021 with support of our Dean's Office and our department. We attended the Olin Summer Institute, and several other projects since then have arisen. And also we'd like to acknowledge our grant from Microsoft and from NSF to help us develop our idea. And of course, the EOP program is a very important part of our process as well. In the middle panel, I won't detail it all, but we have to date developed and delivered three courses. One is called Energy and Sustainability, which was offered last summer, Creating a Sustainable World this semester and last semester, and Product, Services, and Sustainability, which is also being offered this semester. And all these courses so far have no prerequisites and are designed to attract the broadest scope of students at this point possible. But as we go with the program, we will be developing deeper level courses that have some, of course, requirements to enter into the course. What we've done so far, among others that might be of interest today, is as part of our NSF project, we're not just developing courses and curriculum, but we're also doing some educational research. And you'll see a few little pie charts on the right, which just give you a flavor of the kinds of things that we're inquiring about. So broadly speaking, we want to tap into this idea of sustainability mindset, but also see how it might change over time. So right now our data is only from the first couple of semesters of this course of Creating a Sustainable World. And we expect that these ideas might change as the students take further courses and projects. But just to give you a taste of what we had is the first pie chart, the red and the blue segments show that very predominantly most of our students believe that our curriculum needs to be updated to attend more directly to sustainability. The second pie chart, also the blue and the red segments, overwhelmingly when asked if they're concerned, students say yes, they are concerned if their employers will be committed to sustainability. And the third pie chart is about an even split when asked about if they think there's sufficient technology to address sustainability. Most of them say yes, but then there's a divide about is it already being implemented sufficiently, or does it have to be implemented more aggressively? And these are all just examples of mindsets that we think are good starting points, because this should not be a static process. In other words, we expect that over time and with stakeholder engagement, maybe students will change their mind, for example, and find that their employers want to be committed to sustainability, and that our students will become their next wave of employees and change agents. The other thing I'll share with you is that also in the right segment, there's a little collage. And this is another example of what we're trying to accomplish, which is that in addition to inviting students to do traditional assignments and even design work, we want them to express their ideas in artistic or other kinds of visual manners. And so here are just some examples of art or sketches that came up from our students in this class, even just since the semester began last week. And I'll just call out that the triangle on the right already shows some idea about the so-called 3 pillars of sustainability being very important to that student's mindset. So that's a summary of where we are. I think the challenges going forward are, there certainly will be a question of, especially when we develop the major program, there are some more research questions to be addressed, such as, what really defines a sustainability engineer as opposed to a more disciplinary founded engineer. We believe that there is room for a new kind of engineer who cross-cuts many of the disciplines, but can think broadly, but yet competently in technical engineering terms about all the things that might go into a sustainability portfolio, whether that be at a company, an agency, or other kinds of organizations. And so we want to, reach out to our stakeholders in industry and elsewhere to help us investigate those kinds of questions. But we're very happy to be where we are right now. And again, thank you so much for the support from the EOP program. And we're very happy to hear any comments or questions. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks so much, Christopher. Any feedback for Christopher? If the mentors are here, you can share your webcam. We can also, solicit feedback in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it back over to Dr. El-Sayed for the closing.
So thank you so much, everyone. I'd really like to thank all our Cohort 1 teams for sharing their important work with us. It really was, in the name of what somebody said, phenomenal. This was just amazing. So what a unique and impressive compilation of projects. I commend all of you. Great job. Thank you for joining us today for today's symposium. We hope that you found today's sessions meaningful. Now, please take a few moments to complete our survey to provide us with some feedback. We have posted the link in the survey in the chat pod. So please take a few minutes and look at the chat pod and click on it so that you can provide us with some meaningful feedback on how you felt the program has gone so far and with this particular event. Now, as a reminder, this event was recorded and will be posted to the EOP-MGP website in the next week. Applications are now open for Cohort 2. So to learn more and apply to become a part of the next phenomenal cohort, please visit the EOP-MGP.asw.org, our website, for more information, and please apply. If you have any questions, please email us at eop-mgp@asw.org. And remember that I just saw the survey went into the chat pod, so please take time to give us some meaningful feedback. We really want to hear from you. So if you have any specific questions about applying for Cohort 2, please stay on for a couple of minutes after the event. And we thank you so much for all of your great work and everything you're doing to create a better world. Thank you so much.